Hi there, welcome to Nonsense Whisky. My name's PF, and on today's episode, I'm going to be heading back to Jura. Now, I haven't covered a hell of a lot of Jura in my time, mainly because I don't really get on with Juras of past. I've enjoyed the Superstition, although I don't think I've covered that one on the channel yet. I have managed to do a kind of a 10 versus the original Origin, which was a 10-year-old as well, so that's the kind of comparison there. But a couple of years ago, they actually changed their range. It's like 2018. They changed their range entirely, and this is now part of that. So this is the Jura Journey. This is the entry level, the 40%er version. They do have a 10-year-old, a 12-year-old, a 7-wood, and an 18-year-old, and then a couple of other fancy ones as well. Varying different kind of cask types and various different ABVs, and of course, prices. This one here started out in 2018 a little bit pricey in my opinion. It was about £35, but then now I have a bottle of it. It's been gifted to me by my mother actually for my birthday, so thank you very much. So this is now roughly around £25 to £30. A little bit of a better price, but we'll get into see if that's actually worth the price a bit later on. Now the cool thing about this one, it's entirely ex-bourbon matured, so you know if you're into that already, then you might enjoy it, might not. Some of the others in the range have different levels of ex-sherry in them as well. Of course, the 7-wood is like 7 different kinds of wood, although a lot of those are different kind of French oaks, apparently. So you have to kind of look into them as and when they are. If I get them on the channel, of course, I'll go into them in a little bit more depth. But today's one is purely ex-bourbon cask. We're not sure how many refills they are, but given the price and the no age statement on this, I imagine it's probably going to be at least second or third fill. So if you don't know really what that means, you'll have a kind of virgin oak, which will have bourbon in it, and then that will be shipped over to the UK. You'll then get a kind of what we call first fill. So that's really, when we say first fill, it's actually had 2 different kinds of whiskey in it. Then you'll have refill, which could be anything after that. Then we say second, third, and probably a fourth. If you're talking about your really cheap blends, you might get down to a fourth. I have to say, I really hope that most quality distilleries won't go that far because there's not much left that the oak is going to give. Point is, we don't know how many fills this has had, but given the price of it, I'm going to wager that it's at least second or third fill. There you go. It's Jura, so it's definitely added colour. 40%, so it's probably going to be chill filtered as well. Moving on. Let's get into the glass and see what we've got and see if this whiskey's really any good. Now, as I said, don't typically get on with Jura that well, especially the old versions of it. The Origins wasn't really that bothered. Not really my favourite kind of whiskey. Cheap enough, but let's see what we've got. Now, on the nose, actually, it's pleasantly surprising, I would say, given the price that it currently is. Not particularly complex. It's lots of honeys, lots of vanillas, lots of caramel notes. Not too bad at all. Let's move on to the palate. So it translates quite nicely from the nose. Honeys, vanillas, caramels, that kind of thing. Nothing too complex going on there. There's a little bit of pepperiness on the back end. Keep things a little bit more interesting, but overall, really nice, easy drinking dram. Finish isn't overly long. It's, I would say, kind of short to medium, but it's kind of honey-led and spiciness as well. So it's really not too bad, actually, I have to say. Considering I have kind of tried this before and didn't really like it that much, I've tried it now again, and I'm getting through the bottle. It's going to be one that I'm not going to give away. I'm going to enjoy finishing this. And the best thing about it is the new lower price, it makes it a little bit easier to recommend. Now, I have to say, if you are kind of like me and you weren't that bothered about a Jura before, I don't think this is going to set your world on fire. You'll probably fall into the category of me and just be a bit like, it's alright, I kind of like it, it's not too bad. Some of the others in the range, pushing up the age statements and the ABVs a little bit more, might be of interest to you, but I don't want to get into those and recommend those until I've actually had a chance to cover them on the channel. Hopefully, I'll get a chance in the near future, but we'll see. I don't have any of them in right now, so you know how these things go. But yeah, I have to say, if you're after a nice, kind of cheap, easy drinking scotch, what I like to call a guilt-free scotch, something that you can spend not that much money on, keep in the cabinet and drink without touching your expensive stuff, then this kind of fits that bill. Personally, I would be looking for something a little bit more interesting, a little bit more kind of peat influence maybe. Maybe a touch of sherry, dare I say. I don't usually say that sort of thing, but a little bit of extra sherry in there. So I'm probably interested to go and check out the 10 and the 12 and see if that's making much difference. There you go. Hopefully that's introduced you to this a little bit. You'll probably know by now if you fall on the fence of, am I going to buy it, am I not? Let me know in the comments below about what you think. And I'll move on to the next Jura.